Dear students, Namaste and welcome to today's grade 9 English class. We are in unit 13 today, expressing congratulations. So, without delay, let's start the class. Look at the person, think and act. Can you see the picture over here? What's the picture about? Grade 8 English book. It's in my hand as well. Grade 8 English book. So, do you remember about reading about this book? What did you like about this book? How were the lessons? How was the setting? Everything. What did you like about it? Do you remember? So, same questions here. Do you remember the grade 8 English book? What are the interesting things you can still remember? So, remember the interesting things about the book and review and list any 5 of them. So, list out any 5 interesting things about the book. Maybe you like the book, cover of the book, or maybe the song written at the back side, or the lessons, stories, poems, fun corner. What did you like it? So, interesting things you can list out. Suppose I have brought some points over here. Interesting things of grade 8 books, like Enjoy Yourself corner, so where there were some jokes and jokes, somewhere there were stories as well. So, that corner was like very funny. So, you might like that corner. And stories, like one of the example is Teddy's stories, entitled Who Makes a Difference. Similarly, district profile or writing CV writings and poems like Changing World and If Pigs Could Fly. So, these may be some of the memory of grade 8 English book. Yours could be different than these points. So, you can list out many other different points about grade 8 book. Get it? Okay. So, there was a next question, that is B. Can you tell few things about grade 9 English book? Right? So, grade 9 English book, this book, okay, grade 9 English book. Can you tell few things about grade 9 English book to the class, and what have you learned until this date? So, it's unit 13. Before, you have already studied up to unit 12. So, you have learned many things, you have gone through many things in this book. What will you learn from it? So, what are still your expectations? Still 14-15 is there. So, since that, you must have some expectations to learn more from this book. And what do you that is the expectation. So, discuss it. So, in a group, in the class, in a pair or group, you can discuss about grade 9 book, how it is different from grade 8 book, or how it is different, grade 9, how grade 9 book is different from grade 8 book. So, this is what you have to do in your class. Why are we doing this? Why are we comparing book? Do you have any guesses? Okay, the thing why we compare the book, because we are going to have a lesson. We are going to read a lesson about book review and a film review. So, book review and film review. In book review and film review, what do? We find out interesting things of the book or of the movie, and then we also recommend whom to read or whom to watch this movie. So, interesting things and then recommendations, or recommendation to improve the movie or book itself. So, these things we include in book review. Okay, what's there? Let's go through the lesson. Yes, okay. So first of all, there is no book review, but there is a movie review, okay. Can you see this picture? Chola. Have you heard this name, this movie name before? Have you watched? Okay, before that, do you like watching movies or reading fictions or not? Reading fictions novels. Most of us like it, right? So watching movie and reading novels, these are interesting tasks. So easy way to enjoy our leisure time, watching movie and reading books. And Chola is a social movie, okay, social movie by Krishna. It is based on the novel written by Krishna Dharabasi, and the book is about tradition like Sati tradition in Nepal. Have you ever heard about Sati tradition? Yes, you might have heard about it. So let's watch a short clip of the movie Chola.
ल सती देवी अब अगाडि लाग्नु। ल सती देवी शिवलिङ्गको पूजा गर।
Okay, you might have watched the scene. So what was shown there? A lady was there who was asked to sacrifice herself in the funeral fire of her deceased husband, right? Her husband passed away and she was forced to be burnt alive in the funeral fire of her husband. So it was such a inhuman activity of our past. We even feel very scared, shivered to talk about it. But the women of that time, they went through that tradition. How difficult it would be to be burnt alive, we cannot even imagine. So this was a very, very bad tradition that was practiced in Nepal. Can you imagine that? Not really. So let's read something about brief information about Sati tradition. Okay, so Sati system is the custom in which the widow is placed on the fire, okay, of a deceased, dead husband and burnt alive. Sati practice can be found mentioned in several Hindu religious scriptures and epics. It was totally inhuman behavior towards women. It was not human, it was inhuman behavior towards women. On December 5th, 1829, Lord William Bentinck abolished Sati system in India. Nepali rulers didn't imitate the Indians, rather existed for about 90 more years of its abolition in neighboring India. See, the Sati tradition was abolished in India 90 years before in Nepal. Nepal practiced 90 years longer than them. Meanwhile, Chandra Shamsher was pressurized by British India government to uproot the practice. Then Chandra Shamsher was pressurized to remove this tradition. Thereafter, Chandra Shamsher declared the abolition of this practice on the occasion of his 57th birthday on 8th July 1920. His declaration states that if anybody inspires, facilitates or sets fire to the Sati, then he would be sentenced to death in murder charge. Chandra Shamsher put an end to the centuries-long inhuman Sati system in Nepal. So Chandra Shamsher was the person who removed Sati system in Nepal. Before that, there used to be Sati system. Before 1920, there used to be Sati system. So those widow women whose husband passed away, they had to go for Sati. And even it was more common in royal families. Like when king dies, then all his wives, even sometimes other family members like mother of king or maybe maids who work for the king, they also used to go to Sati together, believing that king or let's say male who died, who passed away, needs all those things after death as well. So Sati system was practiced believing that there was life after death. So it was belief system, life after death, and the requirements were sent along with the deceased person. Anyway, it was inhuman. We criticize it. We don't like to continue, and we are very proud that it was abolished. Okay, so let's get into the lesson. Our today's lesson is based on the same tradition. Okay, here is a specimen of movie review on Jhola. Title of the movie Jhola. Director Yadav Kumar Vadrai. Producers Raj Timil Sinha, Ram Gopal Thapa and Sushil Shah. Starring Garima Pant, Deshbhakta Khanal, Sujal Nepal, Lakshmi Giri and Deepak Chetri. Genre social. Duration 90 minutes. Language Nepali. Release date 7 December 2013. So here the movie Jhola, this is review specimen. Review specimen mean copy, sample. Okay, this is the sample of book review, how book review is done. So when you review book, you have to list out these categories: title, director, producer, starring, genre, duration, language, release date. So title and director you are clear, producers you are clear. So starrings refers to actors, main characters of the movie are called starring. So Garima is a central character of this movie. So these are all our main characters of the movie. And whereas genre mean the type of style of movie. What style of movie is it? The movie Jhola is social type of movie, okay, because social issue is focused in this movie. That's why this is social movie. Let's start. Jhola is a Nepali film based on Krishna Dharawasi's story Jhola. It has depicted Nepali society about the sati tradition that was prevalent until the 1920s. As we have discussed previously, Jhola was based on the story Krishna Dharawasi's story Jhola. The movie was based on, and then the focus was given in the sati tradition, and that was prevalent mean existing, that was existed in Nepali society. It depicted means showed about that tradition until 1920s. Before 1920s there was practice of sati tradition. The film beautifully presented the issue of violence against women. So it was a violent activity towards women. Has Nepali society really passed through such inhuman tradition? We wonder today. No, is the questions youngsters wonder about. We wonder today, was there such tradition in the past? It is very hard to imagine that such inhuman tradition was there. Women used to be burnt alive. So we wonder today, but women of that time went through it. Okay, the plot develops with the death of Garima's husband. The movie started with Garima's husband. Garima is a central character because the tradition moved around, the story moved around her husband Garima and then her family. So in which she has to immolate, immolate means kill, sacrifice, okay, sacrifice herself upon her husband's death, typically on his funeral fire, okay. So she had to sacrifice herself in the funeral fire. She is supposed to be burnt alive with the dead body of her husband according to the tradition. So according to the tradition she was compelled. It was not by her will. It was tradition, that's why she was compelled. She was compelled to be burned along with the dead body of her husband. However, there was a twist in the movie. What was the twist? She escapes. She escapes the fire and hides in a cave. And then the help of her son fascinates the audience. So Somehow, while she was being burned in the funeral fire, she jumped into the river, and she saved herself, and she went to hide in the jungle, in a cave. And in the stay in the cave, her son, Garima's son, who was very young, maybe of 8 years old, he saw Garima in the jungle while going for the walking in the jungle or taking cattle in the jungle. He saw his mother in the cave and then recognized her. But what was restriction? She couldn't go back to the village, because if she would go back to village, she would be killed by the villagers. That's why she couldn't go back. So when she told these things, son also convinced, and the son asked her mother to help. So he would help her, his mother. So son came back to the village and took some food and clothes to his mother in the cave. So this is the way Garima's son helped Garima in the banishment. Let's say it was like a banishment, because she could not go back to her village and her people. So it was most appealing, fascinates the audience, attracts the audience. It was so innocent, it was so heart-touching scenes that people who watch the movie, they are fascinated, attracted towards this scene. Then almost all the scenes seem realistic and historical. The good parts of the movie are the scenes were so realistic, historical. Traditional tools like dhiki, jato, madani, etc. gave a traditional look. I'll show you the picture of those materials later on. So these were traditional tools which were used at the home of people when there didn't used to be any electrical gadgets. So people used to use own manual manual machines they made by themselves at home. So these kind of realistic tools were there that made the movie more, gave a traditional look to the film. And then similarly, traditional lights like rako, diyalo, rako, flash of the fire, there didn't used to be electricity. So of course they used to carry log, and they at the top of the log they make a fire, that is called rako. So people while walking or maybe at home at night, they use such kind of rako and diyalo to lighten, for the light. Fireplace, and they have fireplace at home, represent ancient environment to the spectators. Spectators mean audience who watch movie. So for them, these scene appeals to watch, attracts to watch. In addition to Sati tradition, the movie also touches Kamara Kamari, a kind of slavery tradition. So somehow the movie included the portion to show what is Kamara Kamari. We wonder about this tradition. What is Kamara Kamari in this time? We don't know. So it's kind of slavery. So we have heard, and slavery system, it's removed, right? So we have heard or read somewhere about slavery system, and Kamara Kamari is like that. So humans were sold and bought like things, okay, lifeless things. They are sold and bought, and they are kept at home, and they are asked to work all the time without any payment, without any salary. So these are called Kamara Kamari. And what a beautiful cinematography, movie making way. The way of movie making is very wonderful, beautiful. I think costumes of the artist, okay, costumes were also very real. And then leaf music, okay, music produced by leaf. Leaf music in a traditional tunes touched the heart of everyone present in a cinema hall. So everyone liked that tune. Garima's natural appearance, besides that, natural appearance was there. No any makeups and show-offs were there. Very natural, traditional look was given to Garima. And her role and her acting are spellbinding. Spellbinding means fascinating, mesmerizing. You forget everything. Everything melts away around you when you watch this movie, because it was so realistic. The acting was so real that you forget everything around you, and add to the beauty of the movie. That add the main beauty of the movie. So what is the recommendation? It is a must-watch movie. Don't miss it. So the reviewer suggests us that we must watch this movie. We can't miss it, because it is so realistic movie based on the tradition of one of the traditional custom of Nepal. Okay, here is a picture. Can you guess what is the picture about? Have you ever seen such tool at your home? What is this tool used for? This is called jato. Okay, O is down. Okay, jato it is. Okay, so this tool is used for grinding grains, to make flour of grains like wheat, maybe maize, corn, right? Maize, corn, or maybe some other grains are made powder, flour through this grinding stone. And this is also a similar tools. It's called dhiki. Okay, similar tool. You can see women's they are making flour out of grain from this tool. There is another picture as well of this. Yes. So if we go in rural area of Nepal, some parts, we still find such tools. This is also dhiki. Well, students, so this is the picture of madani, and through this process, use of this madani, we make ghee or butter. So curd is kept inside this pot, theki, and then after process using the madani, butter is made. So I hope you got about movie Chola, okay, through this review. We will go through exercise related to it later on. So first of all, we have to go through next review, that is book review. A specimen of book review on Lord of Flies. So this is a book review, specimen, sample of book review. Title of the book, Lord of Flies, author William Goldings, publisher Penguin Book, characters Jack, Piggy, Ralph, Eric, Roger, Simon, Sam, etc. Genre fiction, year of publication 1954. So these are pre-information about book. As I told you, like in the movie review, before you do review of any book, then you have to list out those things, those categories, like title. Title is the center name of the book, right? Lord of the Flies. And then who wrote it? The writer, the author's name should be mentioned. And then publisher's name. And then major characters, main roles, whose main roles are there. So they are major characters. And genre, what kind of book is it? Whether it is science fiction or reality based, or fiction is, so you know what type of books are, movies are called fiction. So fictions are usually imaginary, right? Imaginary of stories by the writers, authors. And it was published in 1954. The year of publication means the year it was published and people could read about it. So let's go through the review of this book. William Golding's Lord of Flies is still popular among teenagers. So this book is popular among the people like you, okay, teenagers. Its popularity is highlighted because it is a blend of mystery and adventure. So it's the people who like, usually teenagers, people like mysterious stories where there is suspense, right? So, and then adventures. So it's blend, mixer of mystery and adventure. So furthermore it carries the message as well, to be civilized by remaining under the law and order, or law and order, despite the absence of seniors for peaceful living. So in the how children can be civilized in the absence of seniors, even peaceful living. So it gives such message how children can live civilized life without seniors. So that's the mystery over here. The story opens with a plane crash. See, adventure begins over here. The story opens with the plane crash. A group of reckless means careless, okay, careless schoolboys in a deserted island. Deserted means lonely island. So in a lonely island, a group of children, they reached there by, it happens to be because of plane crash. They were there. In the beginning, it seems as if the young boys' dreams have come true, because children they often dream of living alone, right, without interference of elder people, and their dream came true. It was like dream came true, though it was not so pleasant to listen about plane crash, because they were not harmed and they were safe over there. They would not want a whole island to play on all day without any nagging from adults. Nagging, troubles. You know, when we adult people say, do this, do that, children feel this like nagging, troubling them. So children always wanted to get rid of these things, naggings. Soon they start governing themselves by electing a leader in spite of the absence of any adults. So there were no adult people, only children. That's why they felt that there should be a kind of leadership among them. So they chose a leader. The plot develops with the struggle of the leader and protagonist. So leader, protagonist. Protagonist means central character, chief character, right? So main character, let's say hero, right? So hero, Ralph and Jack, the antagonist. So Ralph is a hero and Jack is antagonist. So antagonist is opponent of hero, let's say villain, right, in a common word. So soon hunger of power creates conflict. Soon there was conflict among children, because there was hunger. Hunger could even strive elder people to fight, create conflict in elder people. And here they were children, they were teenagers. So that leads to anarchy. Anarchy means lawlessness. So nobody listened about the law because there was hunger. They wanted to fulfill their own desires. Gradually, their decisions and action turned to worse, to barbaric and bloody. So gradually that conflict turned into the barbaric. Barbaric means cruel. It was cruel, bloody, mean even, you know, killing, fighting, and then so very unpleasant activities started to take place over there in the island. Okay, this leads to the tragic end of the children's world. So there was tragic end. Ralph's innocence is the most appealing. Ralph, the main character, leading character, it's his innocence, you know, innocent acting, let's say, innocent acting was appealing, fascinating, attractive. That attracted audience. Later, his maturity and realization is another fascinating part of the plot. So he was a teenager. He was a teenager and gradually developed maturity. Developed maturity in the isolated, deserted island, because they had to live life in their own. There were no elders, so they developed maturity themselves. So it gives the lesson that life is not all about how many friends you have and how popular you are. So when, you know, in our normal life we always want to have many friends and we want to gain popularity, but it's not about that. It is, you know, people you are and having fun. The more one reads, the more one discovers the deep meaning of the questions. Are people naturally prone to evil? Which is better, to have rules or and agree, or to hunt or kill? Instead, inner meaning is dark, tragic and pessimistic, but it makes the reader wonder how thin the line between good and evil really is. So it's very hard to you know, distinct between good and evil when there are problems in the life. Yet it deals with fundamental issue of humanity. So yet there was issue about humanity. What a transformation from innocent to experience it is. So innocent children become experienced one. So almost every reader would recommend this book to teenagers who want to try something different or who like adventure and mystery. So those children who like adventure and mystery must read this book, is the recommendation. So okay, let's it's over. Now let's go to vocabulary activity. You have to find out some similar words from the text, like actors, sacrifice, enthralling, troublesome, chief character, lawlessness. So it's already given there from movie or book. You have to find out, like actor is what? Starring, sacrifice, immolate, enthralling, spellbinding, troublesome, nagging, chief character, protagonist, lawlessness, anarchy. So like starring you can find in the beginning of the book beginning of the lesson, movie, okay, book movie review. So immolate, in the first paragraph itself it is given immolate. Second paragraph immolate, you can find it. And spellbinding in the final paragraph of movie review. So nagging, protagonist, anarchy, you can find from Lord of Flies in the second paragraph. Okay, so there is another activity. Write short answers to the question, who is Garima? Which social evil is depicted in the movie Jhola, and what is the best part of the film? So who is Garima? You can read here, like Garima's husband. So death of Garima's husband is the main event over here. So Garima is a central character because the story moves around her. So you can write Garima is a central character of the movie. And the social evil depicted in the movie is Sati tradition, right? Sati tradition. And why movie is liked by many people? Because it is realistic and historical tools were used. Who are the major characters of Lord of Flies? So major characters, it is exactly mentioned characters. So these are the major characters. So where does this next question, where does the story of the boys begin? Why do you think the boys choose a leader, and does the story of the boys have happy ending? So we find this in this paragraph. All answers are there at a time. So story begins in a deserted island, okay, and they choose a leader for governing, and then the story of the boys have not so good ending because there was a tragic ending. The reason behind it was, what was the reason behind it? The hunger, the problems, the conflicts. Due to that, there was tragic end. Another question is, whom does reviewer recommend this book to? So it's directly written, this book is recommended to the teenagers. Next activity over here, this is the final activity you have to do. So in this activity you have to fill up this box with informations given in the movie and the book. So name of the movie, author, date release, main characters and genre. So like movie name Chola, author director is Yadav Kumar Bhattrai, release date 7 December 2013, main character Garima, and others are also there. So genre is social. So likewise you write about book, and then find see in this portion you find all the information of both. And then yes, one more activity, final activity is that, like the previous activity of read and complete 2 table, you list out the movie and books that you have read, and give all the informations like author, chief characters, when you read or watched, and feedbacks you give. So this much for today. Hope you have learned about book review and then exercises of the based on the book review. So this much for today. Thank you. Namaste.